you need to recognize that and take accountability for it so it doesn't happen again. If you're constantly blaming others, you can't make adjustments.
Today's guest on True Talk is Matt Cacace. Matt Cacace is one of the fastest growing agency owners in all of FFL.
You're going to bring people on and recruit people that you thought were going to be great and they just didn't work out. So you're going to have to sift that sand to find that piece of gold.
This year through 2024, Matt has tripled his agency's volume and is over $30 million in life insurance sold so far.
I just didn't own the rights to my life, man.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is I didn't get to make my decisions for myself or my family.
Matt comes from a sales background, spent over 10 years in the timeshare business, but had no time for himself. Learn how Matt bought his life back through FFL. What's up, dude? How we doing?
Great, man. Yeah.
Coming up from Florida?
Yeah, down south, yeah.
Dude, nice cold weather. Well, actually, it wasn't bad today. You would have froze your ass off yesterday, though.
Yeah. When I flew in and I got off that plane, I had shorts on and a T-shirt. I came in from Miami, so excuse me for being naive.
Well, I appreciate you bearing the cold and coming up with us here and talking. Dude, you've been kicking ass, bro. Like, I was looking at numbers, and you pretty much tripled in a year from a writer standpoint, which is awesome. So I say that to, number one, that's, we don't have people get on these podcasts and talk and train if they've not done something in our business, at least, right? And I also appreciate you taking out that time to come spend some time with us.
Yeah, of course. So. You guys do a lot for us. So.
We try, dude. So we have – I got a few statements I want to throw at you, Matt.
Okay.
So there's a lot of misconceptions in life insurance. Is that fair?
Yeah.
You've been in this business how long now?
About 4 years.
April
will be 4 years.
Got it. So personally for a little bit and then transition into recruiting and building a massive agency. I'm sure you've heard this as an agent. I'm sure your agents. Do you still do a lot of coaching with your agents?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like, what's your model? So if I'm working with you, I'm going out in the field. Am I calling you before my appointments? Do you have a salesperson?
Yeah, we have a. I don't want to say a strict policy because we don't. We strongly encourage, but we don't tell people what to do.
Got it.
So
right. Well, they're all independent.
Yeah, right. So,
but what is your encouraged policy?
Well, hey, if you're just getting going, we focus 100% on telesales now. So if you're just getting going, when you've got a client on the line and you're just getting going, if you're in your first 60 to 90 days, we're telling that agent to call their upline or above that upline in between every single call to get angles to figure out, what exactly to properly advise the customer.
Got it.
So they're not giving them any misinformation or putting themselves in a box to where they can't move it towards application. So for 60, 90 days, we have that strongly encouraged.
Yeah, got it. What about after? So I'm on my call.
Yeah.
I don't help the family, right? It happens.
Yeah.
Do they then reconnect?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. After, that's something that we very much encourage too, is call and bounce that call off of that upline.
Yeah.
To figure out, what could have maybe taken place if we would have asked certain questions and really bounce that conversation back and forth so we can kind of accelerate their growth process to get them more independent.
Right. Because it's hard sometimes, especially as a brand new agent. You're in that situation. You don't help the family, and you don't see any way it could have. Like you're convinced yourself, right? Like you couldn't sell them, but you sold the shit out of yourself. You're like, no, dude, I love that. Like, no, you wouldn't even have closed it, Matt. Like, dude, I probably would have. But hey, talk to me, walk me through, and then you point it out, and they're like, oh yeah, I guess I could have just done that.
Yeah. I think that's the easiest thing to do as a newer salesperson is to justify why you weren't able to move it forward towards the sale.
Right.
It's always easier to go that instead of like this, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's natural.
Absolutely.
And recognizing that with newer agents and letting them know that they're going to be that way.
Correct.
Like, so they're more prepared for when they do start to feel some type of way or like in their head, like, oh man, not anybody could have got that. They'll remember those conversations. So.
Yep. See, I had the luck of being direct to Sean when I started. So, Sean.
He doesn't sugarcoat it.
No. And this was 15 years ago, Sean.
Sure.
So, no, there was you wouldn't have closed it. You didn't want to say that. No. You just like, dude, I screwed up. Tell me what I did wrong.
I believe you.
But it is normal, to have that thought process of like, oh, no one would have closed this, because the last thing that, and it's also, I think, the way we're raised nowadays, society, unfortunately, is the go-to is to blame someone else. right? We see it in we talked a little bit before. You see it in politics. You see it in entertainment. It's like a movie does bad. The director blames the actor blames the director. This party blames that one. It's like, dude, you guys are probably both at fault, right? Yeah. But no one ever goes, well, what did I do wrong? But that's what, in my opinion, is what helps the agents get better and learn how to do what we do, is when you can just look within first.
And so I think you can't expect that from agents if you're not willing to do that yourself.
Exactly.
So I try and be super transparent. I mean, sometimes to a fault. I'll tell people, if there's a meltdown coming, if I, I'm very transparent, and I think that earns me some respect.
Absolutely.
Because I don't hide things, even if it's good, bad, or indifferent. And having those conversations up front are super important, but also taking accountability in yourself and knowing, hey, if you messed up yourself, you need to recognize that and take accountability for it so it doesn't happen again. If you're constantly blaming others, you can't make adjustments.
Absolutely.
So.
And you lived through it. I mean, your first year sold over 300, right? Personally.
Yeah, about 300, yeah.
So you had to have gone through that at some point, right? Like, I don't think you just came out the gate closing everybody you sat down with.
No. I think the biggest challenge for me was getting a control of show rate. That was my biggest challenge in the field when I was running appointments.
And that's another aspect where it's easy to blame the clients, right? Oh, I tell you what, Matt, none of my appointments are ever there. Like, okay, well, what are you doing wrong? Because mine are there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw this out to you. I'm sure you've heard this. You've probably heard this from clients. You probably hear it from agents. Life insurance is too expensive. Fact or fiction?
It's fiction.
Yeah. Why?
Because, well, first off, there's got to be a need, right? So, like, if the need's not established, I think anything in life, it doesn't matter. If the value is there, it's going to outweigh the cost in anything. So if you get sick tomorrow and you don't have but $1 in your bank account, and they tell you that you need to pay for this experimental drug to help you get better, you're going to do everything within your power to pay for that.
Right.
So, I think it more is towards the client needing to see the value and what it could do for their family in the event that they need it. But if you don't take the time as a salesperson to really identify that and do a good discovery and put it in perspective for the client, as you should, then it might be too expensive to them for them. But we have policies for every type of person, and you know that. So that's the benefit of being with FFL. Right. We have such great product offerings. There's so many different. I think we offer, in my agency, like 37 different products. Right. So
you'll find something affordable.
There's something there.
And because you've sold things that were expensive. We were in timeshares for a long time, right?
Yeah,
like
that's expensive.
Like I could say, dude, that's too expensive, right? And you're like, yeah, actually, you're probably right.
It can get expensive, for sure.
But you still sold them.
Yeah, we sold them.
You know, what about this? And just so this may seem elementary to you. You've been here for so long, but there's people watching that either don't have a life insurance license. There may be people watching that want to get insurance, right? So the whole, you have to have a doctor come out. No. Why not?
No. I mean, there are products that they'll have to get fully underwritten that will require a doctor or a nurse or whatever. But no, we focus, within our agency, we don't offer those products really. There's a seldom time that it happens. Right. But simplified issue products are just quick. Do the application, they run the MIB, they check the pharmaceutical report, and the carrier says, and you answer a couple questions, of course, on the health questionnaire, answer those ethically and honestly. Sure. And then you'll get a response back from the carrier immediately, and you know if that client is covered or not, which is the best part. You collect premium on that day, they walk out, and that family's protected.
Absolutely. They're protected. You're paid because, we're not doing this for free,
no,
right?
We're not.
So you helped the client out, protected them. And I think sometimes with agents, especially new, and we're talking a lot about new agents, right? Because this is, number one, this is not for everyone. Mm-hmm. You've built a massive agency, but I'm sure you've had more agents not be successful than the ones that have been, right? If the ratio. Yeah. You got to go through it.
Yeah.
But to find ones that are good and willing to do the things that you were willing to do or whatnot. But there are definitely times where agents have this idea of like, going back to the too expensive, I have to give them the cheapest product ever.
Yeah.
No. And that's where you get messed up because you could run a fully underwritten quote and it looks great, man, right? Like, dude, I'll give you $2 million of coverage, $25 a month. You're going to be a super, super extra preferred, right? Yeah. What happens?
Yeah, 6, 7, 8 weeks later, you get denied. Yeah,
exactly. And this is the part that you then screw the client. Yeah. This is what, going back to years ago, talking about, Sean's training, you screw the client. Because if I do that to you, Matt, now you're stuck with this rating.
Yeah.
I can't then come in with a, in America, Eagle Premier, and you're like, it shows up on the MIB.
Yeah, I used to say something in home, which I made up and I liked it. I was like, hey, listen, you're going to move forward with, we want to move forward with this application. You want to stay away from, fully underwritten products, because if you invite, a cleaner into your house and they start picking up the rug and they find dust under there, I said, and it might appear clean on the surface, but then you start lifting furniture and you notice a bunch of, dust mites and all this stuff. I was like, it's the same thing if you go into a situation where you go fully underwritten. They might discover something that you didn't know was there, and then you're completely ineligible for insurance.
Right.
So why would you take that risk by saving yourself a couple dollars to make sure that you could just get coverage today and be protected? So if something happens next week, you're not in a situation, or your family's not in a situation where they can't take care of you.
Right.
Why are you going to do that? And, that would put perspective into place for people. So
yeah.
I think it's all too often that newer salespeople do fall victim to price shopping or quoting.
Because sometimes they hear it from the client, right? Well, you're telling me, Matt, it's going to be $50, but so-and-so called me from XYZ company, told me it'd be $32.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you're going through a full medical.
Mm-hmm.
But you also need to educate yourself on the products, the industry, and how it works. And then if they're adamant, I've done this plenty of times back in the day. Hey, Matt, we'll do this. We'll get the Simplify one approved now, right? Make sure you have coverage. You want to gamble with a medical after that? By all means, dude, I'm your guy. I'll set you up. It'll take, 3 years for you to get approval. We'll go through the whole deal. We'll get your doctor's records since you were 3 years old. We'll find every way to rate you. But at least you have this policy that they can't take away from you.
For sure.
And you know how many actually have taken me up on that offer? Like none.
No, I was going to say zero.
No, it's just bullshit they say to try to throw you off.
For sure, man. Yeah.
Here's another one. Anybody can do this. Fact or fiction?
No, I don't think that's a fact. And let me say that graciously.
Yeah, sure.
I think you have to be really prepared. And do I think somebody can earn the right to do this? Mm-hmm. Yes, but I think coming into anything, I don't care if it's this industry, this company, or a different guy, coming into anything that's new is you're going to go through so much adversity and challenges.
Right.
And I think being prepared for that is going to ultimately allow you to do this at a successful rate or at a really high level.
Right.
And I think some people aren't ready for that challenge.
No.
I think some people come into here and they want to get rich overnight or something like that, and it's not that. It takes anything worth building takes time.
Right.
And you just can't come in and build a house overnight. It takes, I mean, you were in that industry, right? It takes a little while to build a house, right? So, it's the same thing when you're building a business or building your business as an independent agent, going out there and putting families, into protective state. I mean, dude, it's going to be challenging.
Right. So. One thing I cringe when I hear is you go to these meetings, trainings, conventions, and then, you got a guy who's excited and they introduce you to their guy. How many times have you heard this, Matt? He's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be great.
Yeah.
What happens?
Dude, so it's so funny you say that. I was doing our Monday morning meeting.
Yeah.
What is it today? Tuesday.
Yeah.
So yesterday, that flying, man, it messes with you. Yeah, that flying messes with you. So anyways, I was doing that meeting, and it was one of those meetings where I'm just on it. And I'm 30 minutes straight just going. Yeah, that's probably reminiscent of maybe a Sean talk or something. Right. I don't know. I'm not calling myself Sean, by the way. But anyways, it came up because we were talking about recruiting.
Yeah.
And it came up that, we would have situations like you're talking about. The person recruiting that agent will be so over the moon. Oh, wait till you meet this guy. He's going to absolutely kill her. Or this girl. They're going to kill her. They're amazing, this, that, and that. And I was like, listen, you guys can't really make that judgment if somebody's going to be successful or not based off of your all-knowing, attitude of this person's going to be amazing. Because I've seen people that I thought were going to absolutely blister it.
Sure.
And they come in and they just can't connect the dots. And it's nothing against them. No. There's things that just don't work. So I feel that really as long as they're not like a criminal, and they have a decent attitude and a good head on their shoulders, let's give them a shot. Because you can't judge them based off of all this knowledge of what you know. They might have not been successful in a previous opportunity, but maybe they weren't happy. So that's why they weren't performing at their all potential. And I think that it's really important. When it comes to recruiting efforts, I think we shouldn't be so judgmental.
No. I agree. Give everybody a shot and let them weed themselves out. They will. But don't set this level of like, oh, the guy looks right, smells right, he answers all the questions the right way. Matter of fact, he's probably not going to do it. That's the one that's probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
The one that has all the right answers, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, I would do that, man, in my past career and when I used to be at this place. And then I just go, dude, okay, help me out here. You had all this success there. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Right? Like
exactly. I love the guy with a chip on the shoulder with something to prove. I think that was my special power basically here. Because, man, I know everybody thought I was just going to fail. Even though I was highly successful in my previous career, people are mean, man. They want to see you fail. Yeah. And when you take a risk on yourself and there's only a few people around you telling you you're going to do well, but you know the peanut gallery out there is wishing that you fail so they can watch from afar to be like, oh, I told you so that he wasn't going to make it. I think people are absolutely miserable. So having somebody with a chip on his shoulder, something to prove and ready to drive through a brick wall is who I look for. Yeah. And I respect that. And I don't care if they're working at Firehouse Subs or if they're working in a high-level position, if they're ready for a change. Those are sometimes people that are thirsty for a change.
Sure. Dude, sometimes a sales background is harder, though, to deal with because you have a certain way you did things, for sure. and you've sold outside of here and here. This is a very different sale. And it is. Sometimes, I think a lot of times you got to either alter what you did before or almost forget it. Like, don't bring that here.
Yeah. It's the whole adage of can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I don't fully believe that. It's just to break through that iceberg, to really get them to break down, to accept coaching, even though they have 20 years of sales experience or whatever. Yeah, that'll transition into this and probably help you eventually, but you got to break down the wall first and allow yourself to be receptive to people that are doing it in this space. Yeah. And that's something that we really hit on when we're dealing with people that have been in sales for a long time and they're giving this a shot, is we have that conversation up front so they're prepared for it. So if we notice that they're being really guarded or something like that, we can call them on it and be like, dude, we told you. Or, I don't want to say dude because I don't call women dudes, but, we told you that you were going to have to be coachable. You were going to have to be open to a new industry and a new space. You don't know everything. Yeah, you might have sales skills, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be great at this.
Correct. Because you had a successful sales career prior to this, is that fair? Timeshare mostly, right? How long were you in timeshares for?
14 years.
14 years.
Worked my way up the ranks and stuff like that.
And then you joined us.
Yeah.
How much did that help you, or do you think it slowed you down in the beginning?
No, it helped. It helped me, but I came in very open too. Okay. So again, what I was just hitting on a second ago, I was like that. I was really open. I didn't know it all. I knew it was a new industry. I knew it was brand new products. I didn't know anything about life insurance, bro. Like I didn't know anything. And I knew sales quite a bit, but it was a different sale, but still process driven. So I was open and I was willing to take coaching. So, I don't think it hurt me. It did help me because I could navigate conversations that I had already acquired those skills. So, I think if you come in open, it's okay.
Absolutely. This is another thing that I think you hear agents say this sometimes. Like, you need to have experience to be good at this. Like, I'm trying to find people that used to be in sales, Matt. You're shaking your head. No. That's fiction. Why?
No. I mean, of course, you can have your ideal person you like to target, but again, kind of shelf that because there are situations where you think you've got this superstar and they just kind of don't make it for whatever reason it is. And a lot of the times it's outside factors. Yeah, absolutely. They're not allowing themselves to become successful. But, dude, we've had people that I said Firehouse Subs. We had somebody from Firehouse Subs come in our agency a few months back. They put up like $60,000 their first month. Wow. This guy was like,
no sales experience,
making $400 or $500 a week or something. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that type of money, but it just wasn't right. And no zero sales experience. I mean, besides taking an order for a hook and ladder.
Right. I love that. I was in sales and retail. Like, dude, no offense, but they brought the stuff to the register. Yeah. Like, it's great that you had a job, but like, that's not sales, dude. Yeah. They came in the store, they picked out their own shit, they put it on the counter, and you rung them out. That's not sales. Yeah, for sure. What about, so you had the Firehouse.
But there's story after story. I mean, dude, one of one of my favorite guys, which I consider a really good friend of mine now, this kid, Matt Sides, he was in landscaping, digging ditches and stuff, and came into this industry a few months after we started the business. And, this guy has a kid on the way. Congrats, Matt. has moved down to Tampa, Florida, lives in a nice place, has financial freedom. Like, he's living his best life right now. And, a few years ago, he was out in the hot, blistering sun, digging ditches, doing landscaping. I mean, tough work, which there's nothing wrong with that. But he just knew that there was more for him. And he didn't have no sales experience, but he's done pretty well.
That's awesome. So you got the firehouse sub guy. You got a landscaper. What else you got?
I mean, you've got...
Give me some random ones.
Yeah, you've got a million, man. Well, a lot of people that we've been getting, obviously timeshare. We love timeshare because we're relatable with them.
Sure.
But, I mean, dude, I could give you... I mean, we have a babysitter, a nanny, we have nurses.
Yeah.
I mean, you listen. I mean, we have somebody that was a bioengineer, or... Is that what it's called? Bioengineer?
Maybe.
Yeah, bioengineer. Yeah, she was a bioengineer.
Okay.
She hit Hall of Fame this year.
Wow.
I mean...
Is there one that shocked you the most? Like, I'm like, maybe you didn't bet on this one and he just came out swinging, or he or she?
Okay, so I'd have to, because my perspective of that individual at this point is probably pretty good, so I've got to dig deep on that one.
Gotcha.
That absolutely shocked me. Damn, I think I'd rather hold that off of the air.
All right. Well, if you think about it, let us know.
I have it, but I don't think I want to blast it on this.
All right. I respect that.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I mean, it is the one you least expect, right?
Yeah. And then sometimes the people that you did expect something, they do exactly what you thought. So,
Absolutely.
Again, getting back to not being so judgmental, and people just need a shot. And if they're well prepared with the information they need as far as getting started with us, what kind of costs are going to be down the line for it, and the responsibilities they're going to have of running their own business, essentially.
Right.
As long as all of that is, those prerequisites are in place, dude, and I think people with the right mindset can do this.
Absolutely.
And listen to the right people.
Sure. We said this a little bit earlier. Your first year, you contemplated quitting at least 13 times.
Yeah, for sure.
Why didn't you quit?
You want to know the really?
Yeah.
I refused to go back to my boss and ask for my job back.
Okay.
That was some fuel. Yeah. I left on good terms. I resigned.
Yeah. When you left it, what was their attitude? Was it like, oh man, you're going to be great, or like, you're an idiot for leaving this job?
Yeah, I'm an idiot for leaving.
Right.
I know that.
Sure.
And then that's okay. I'm not.
You expected. You didn't expect them to like have a party for you.
They're not going to be throwing me a party. He's resigning after 14 years. Yeah, man. I mean, that was a really, really hard decision. I mean, you got to imagine that was 14 years of my life.
Yeah.
Man. Like, I was married to that company, essentially. And it's all I knew. It was my whole professional career outside of 2 years of general real estate before that. So like, all of that was that's my career.
Why'd you want out?
I just didn't own the rights to my life, man.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is I was being paid very well.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to make my decisions for myself or my family a lot. Like, I was working to provide a good lifestyle for my family, like financially. We could buy things and do things, and we were fine money-wise. But as far as enjoying that money,
did you get to enjoy it?
We weren't enjoying it, man. And I was working when everybody was traveling.
Yeah.
Which that's how it works in timeshare. Nothing wrong with that, but that's what it was. When you're traveling, you're going for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving travel or Christmas travel or the 4th of July, I'm working.
Yeah.
Weekends, everybody's off at the boat or this, that, or other. Guess what? I'm working.
Got it.
So my days off are when everybody else is working. So it's like, I didn't get time with people that I loved, my friends, my family. I was always on opposite schedules unless they worked with me. And quite frankly, I was working on average mostly 6 days a week.
Yeah.
You
were married at the time already?
Married, yep. And we just had a kid. So when I had the kid, Vinny, he was only about a year old when I decided to walk.
Got it.
Well, anybody that have children, they'll tell you that you get a perspective shift.
Absolutely. How much did that weigh?
Yeah, it shifted me, and I just wasn't getting time. And then, like, it was during a sensitive time, too, in our country's history, too.
Yeah,
so, I was now starting to get time, but I was unchallenged. So, like, and it was only a temporary amount of time, but we had time off from work too, which also gained me perspective that I'm missing this. And
it's hard to know what you're missing if you're not there, right?
Yeah, man. And I was just so caught up in the rat race and just working and working and working and working and working for bonus. Every month would change. And it was just like it would restart. It was just this rat race that I was in. And I just didn't feel challenged anymore. And I was just the same thing that I had been doing over and over. And I kind of knew what my path was for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Got it.
You know, and I just didn't think that I was living up to my full potential. And really, those are the reasons why I decided to walk.
Okay.
And I just wanted to bet on myself for a change.
Well, seemed to have worked out pretty well.
Working out pretty decent.
So at least 13 times you're thinking about quitting. Yeah. Like, what are some things that even brought you to that headspace? Right?
I mean, dude, running appointments.
Yeah.
Hour and a half, 2 hours away just to get no-showed 50% of the time.
Yep.
Yeah, running in some questionable neighborhoods sometimes that I'd never been to, which was fine. You know, I'm a big boy; I can handle myself.
Right.
Fortunately, the insurance guy gets a pass in certain areas.
Normally. So like he causing no trouble.
I very much had my pass clothes on. I had my jacket with the branding, hat. You know,
like, I'm just here to sell insurance.
I'm just here helping people out, protecting families. So you know what I mean? Like it was all good,
But it's not easy starting.
I know, man. I mean, I was in some rough spots. You know, I was doing final expense primarily. I was just trying to get broken into the space. So these people need help, you know, putting themselves where they feel they deserve because their family can't afford to do it. Right. So, you know, it's all good. There's different walks of life, but that was a challenge at first.
Yeah.
Adapting and accepting this is my space now. I just walked away from a several $100,000 a year job selling in AC, and the opportunities are coming to me.
Right.
And I'm not really sitting face to face selling anymore. I'm just managing a business at that point because I was at a director level. So I took some steps back.
Yeah.
You know,
we started at the ground level.
I started at the ground level, dude. Like I'm running appointments in my Prius that I bought for this job opportunity to save on gas because I knew I was going to be burning up gas and I couldn't drive my Mercedes, you know, GT.
So we went from a Mercedes to a Prius.
Well, I bought the Prius for running appointments. I had a GTS, nice sports car.
Yeah.
Couldn't run appointments in that.
Right.
I couldn't pull up to, you know, Mrs. Sally's double wide and sell her final expense policy in a GTS. So it just wasn't going to work. So, again, I made money in my previous career. Yeah. So the money wasn't the reason why I walked away.
Right.
But again, getting back to one of the times I thought about quitting, I'm getting started in this space. I was pretty decent at what I was doing before, and I was in cushy environment. And I wasn't really TOing or face-to-face selling anymore. I was more running the business, running the organization, managing managers, sales organizations, doing sales. You know what I mean? Like, so I took strides backwards to
we don't have positions like that to slide you in. It's you were an executive. You mean executive here? Like, no, dude.
Yeah, so
here's your lead. Start selling,
so
bro.
I'm running to my Prius, hour and a half away, getting no showed 40% of the time, and I'm going to Sally's double wide where the floor is balling out to sell her final expense policy. I mean, this was a humbling experience that I needed. I needed it, and I'm grateful for it in hindsight. But that's probably number one. Number one time I quit.
Do you think the response you got, which is expected, right? We talked about where you left, the response that you got there actually helped you not quit this? Because I mean, they weren't excited about you leaving. They probably didn't wish you the best. Maybe they did, but do you think that helped you not quit? Just knowing like their take or their response to you leaving?
No, I thought. So the thing is we say this all the time: burn the ships.
Yeah.
I burned the ships.
Okay.
I didn't torch the road behind me and leave a bad taste in the mouth with other people. Like I respectfully resigned.
Sure.
I gave them time and notice. I let them do whatever changes they had to do to expect for my departure.
Yeah.
Like it was a process over a few weeks. So like it wasn't like I freaking quit. I'm out of here.
Right.
Screw y'all. Like, you know, it was a little bit of a process, and they knew what I was going to go off and do and all that stuff, and we had understanding and everything. So it wasn't like this, but I burned the ships in my head.
Yeah,
so once I walked out that door, I was never, ever, ever, ever coming back.
Right.
Ever.
Got it.
I didn't know how I was going to do it. I can't.
But your mind was made up.
I was
0%
going to make this work.
Yeah.
Like,
got it.
And I burned the ship. So. I knew I could get a job in that space, in that industry. My resume was good enough at that point to where I could have went off to, competitors of that company and gotten a good job. But like, I didn't want a job.
Yeah.
I wanted an opportunity to build something for myself, and that's why I thought FFL
Talk to
was
me
best.
about your mindset, because that's key right there. You made your mind up, not going back, right? And I think that's a lot of the reason why you've had the success you've had here is it starts here.
Yeah.
Right? How do you maintain positive mindset day in and day out, especially in an industry like ours?
I block out negativity, man. I block out negativity a lot of the times, well, all the times. Things kind of fall on deaf ears if you're coming at me negatively.
Yeah.
And the people that work with me know that. Like, don't bring me negative shit, man.
Yeah. Right.
Unless you're going to bring me a solution to the obstacle that we're trying to overcome, I don't really want to hear it. I don't want you to, bitch about this or that or that. Like, I don't need your outpour of your negativity to try and transfer to me. Misery loves company.
Yep.
You're an energy vampire. Fix whatever you got going on there, and then come back and talk to me, and let's find a solution to the issue. So I really block out I block out negativity like it's cancer to me. And I don't think you can allow yourself to let that seep in, because if you do let it seep in, then your mindset starts to tarnish. And if your mindset starts to tarnish, your ability to perform at your highest level is gone.
Right.
So that's something that I really practice. I'm big on blocking out negativity.
Yeah, it's huge. Now, why is it so important? And the reason I ask is, I hear stuff like that. Well, I'm just venting, Mike. That's all. Or I'm still going to get my job done. I just wanted to point you out and tell you all these 8 things are wrong. Like, no, I got it. It doesn't matter though. Why is that so important to completely block it out instead of just, let me listen to you, vent. Let me hear your bullshit.
And so don't get me wrong. I'll let people get whatever they got coming off, but it doesn't mean that I'm letting it in.
Yeah.
So, like, I do know that sometimes people need to get things off their chest. I'm okay with that. So I'm not like, negative. You're shut down. Stop talking. No. Like, I let people get it off their chest, but then I'll get down to, like, what the root of it is that they really feel that way. Like, and then try and maybe give them some perspective to maybe fix their mindset, because that's an opportunity for them.
Right.
But once I'm done with that conversation, it's gone. It's gone, dude.
Yeah.
Like, out the back disposal, it's trashed out and it's gone. Like, because I'm trying to focus on. I like to focus on what's going well rather than what's going bad.
Right.
Because if I can make things that are going well just a little bit better, then it's probably going to put us in a better position, and then mitigate how we can get rid of those things that are obstacles for us.
Yeah, it's like a camera lens. Whatever you focus on, you're going to see more of.
For sure.
Like, and it seems like it's not a big deal, but it all adds up, and it keeps you in a negative headspace, just letting that shit seep in. One of the best things I did, it was probably 15 years ago when I first got in this industry, was stop watching the news. I was never a big news guy, but it was like that. The news is always on, right? You're selling final expense. I bet 9 out of 10 when you were in the home, you go there watching the news, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, Fox. Yeah. And what are they talking about on the news? Nothing good.
It's doom and gloom most of the time, yeah.
Three people died. There was an explosion. There was this. The bank got robbed. Whatever. Yeah. It's never like, the firefighter rescued the cat out of the tree. No, you're not going to
hear about the million other.
18-car pile up on the highway. It's all you hear is negativity.
Yeah.
So one of the best things I ever did was like, I don't care about the news. How's that impact me? There was a car accident, 2 states. How does that impact me? It doesn't. It puts you in a negative headspace,
Yeah, and you're not the first person I've heard do that.
Yeah.
I keep up with current events and stuff like that just because I want to stay informed. But again, I'm able to not let that dictate how I go through my life.
Right.
A lot of people can't do that, and I do believe that I've got a really strong mindset. I don't know how I've learned that over the time. Probably just practicing that so long that it's how I.
Well, you do know how to maintain it, though.
I know how to maintain it. I've been through tough times, man. Tougher times than most 41-year-olds have been through. I've been in bad spots, real bad spots. Not everything's been beautiful in my life, trust me. Yeah. So, You
go to the gym. How much does that help?
That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets my day started. I love it. I mean, You hear that from people that are doing that. Like, you know, I'm not trying to be Mr. Fit or nothing, but it does help me with my mindset.
Right.
Get my day started. I feel healthier, clearer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not smoking.
No,
that's a
kick
huge
that.
deal to me. That's a big deal. So
we're trying to get you on a gambling addiction.
Yeah,
too, so.
yeah. I do have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
So
So
be careful
anyways,
with that.
the game set now.
Yeah.
Ask the expert. So we have a segment here, Matt, where we got some questions that we want your answer on. I would say you're an expert in sales, life insurance, building a business, as much as someone's going to be an expert. I use that term kind of loosely because, but your numbers speak for themselves. I mean, last year your agency was just under Hall of Fame at about 10 million sold for the year, and this year you're already at 28 million.
Yeah, almost 30.
Almost 30 million. You pretty much tripled in a year. So, first question. What type of support do you give new agents to help them get started fast? Because you don't triple without getting agents going.
Yeah. So I think a great leadership comes down to great delegation. So I've built my agency and compartmentalized it now to where I've got my point people and they've got their point. We're grooming middle management now.
Yeah.
So like I found my foundation years ago. I could rattle those people off: Michael Terry, Ian Camba, Jarrett Vickers, Zach Thomas, and Jordan Lyles. That's my pillar plus me. It's 6 of us, and then we cascade down there. Now we have our middle management coming up. You know, I've got some up and coming stars like Austin Pena. You know, Sierra Wilburn. She was just featured on Rising Star this week. So like I've got these good leaders. So like we're really good at structuring. And I'm not saying we're perfect, but we're really good at structuring the organization. So do I deal with a bunch of newer agents at this point? I'd be lying to you if I told you, but I do have people that I personally recruit that come direct to me that I do deal with.
Yeah.
So I think delegating to people that are deserving of that responsibility, that truly want to help people, is the important part to growing the business.
Yeah.
But having conversations with newer agents, that's just being candid with them.
Right.
And I talk to newer agents all the time. I'm always open. I'm like, hey, if you need, but they don't. Somebody that doesn't know, like I don't know everybody personally anymore, which almost makes me uneasy because I did have a day where I had like 60 agents. I knew everybody personally. Sure. But now it's like almost 200, right? Yeah. Now it's almost 200. I don't know everybody's family or anything like that, which sucks, which I make it a valiant effort to get to every office that we have every 2 to 3 months.
Got it.
So I can shake hands with people and meet people and get to know them personally.
Yeah.
But those conversations happen during those visits. I constantly am saying, hey, if you ever need to reach out to me, reach out to me. Those phone calls don't happen a ton. My phone's blowing up all day long, but it's other people. But I think those conversations need to be really candid with newer agents. Hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like how you pointed out, I have this group of leaders because people sometimes think just because they recruited someone, they're now a leader. Like, I'm your upline. That don't mean anything.
No way, man.
No, you go to that old company, they call it the growing upline, but go to the guy who's selling, the guy who's getting it done. Like if I recruited you the same day I came in, I'm not going to be the one training you.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I recruited you, so if you do something, I'm making override, sure. But it's probably going to be the guy above me or maybe even the guy above him.
Right.
But go to the one who knows what they're doing.
Right.
That's key.
Right.
A lot of people are afraid to go because they don't want to ruffle feathers or upset someone. But, dude, if you're not good yet, I have no problem. Dude, I love you, Matt, but, Tommy above you, he's kicking ass, so I'm going to have my guy talk to him. No offense.
Yeah, for sure. And there should be no offense taken.
No, there shouldn't be.
It really shouldn't be, but I think identifying the right people. So I was talking about that the other day on that call.
Yeah.
Because it was all focused on recruiting and retaining and doing the right thing for people. And, you're going to have to, like, when you're recruiting and you're building a business and you're doing it in the beginning, you're gonna bring people on and recruit people that you thought were going to be great and they just didn't work out. So you're going to have to sift that sand to find that piece of gold. Mm-hmm. The dynamic of my agency when I first started was totally different than it is now.
Yeah.
I didn't find those 5 or 6 people right away.
Right.
But we identified over time, okay, these are ones that I can build a business with. These are the ones that I can partner up with. Their intentions are good. They know how to sell. They know how to help the people. They know the products. They really want to help people. Mm-hmm. Like they want to help the individuals and the agents. And I think those are qualities that you need to look in because they're not going to go that extra mile if it's just in it for themselves.
Right. You guys sell a lot of final expense still, right? Which is, I mean, I want to say it's crazy, but most of the companies moved over to IULs predominantly. You guys are growing like crazy. How do you maintain good quality of business on final expense? How do you teach that? How do you maintain that?
That comes down to the sales process, for sure. Being transparent with the client, letting them fully understand what they just did, what just took place, how did it go about, and then doing a really, really good button-up and follow-up. So what I mean by that is at the end of the sale, you need to do a button-up process. So you're very, very clear with the client of the expectations of what just transpired. You know, if you're putting a new policy in place and they don't have insurance, that's going to be a different style button-up than somebody that might be replacing an older policy that just wasn't beneficial for their family. But they need to understand the steps that had just taken place during that sales process, mitigate any confusion, and let them have that chance in that moment to ask last-minute questions. Because once you walk away or you hang up the phone in our case, and you hang up that phone, you never get that opportunity back. So not being scared of the confrontation of hitting those types of questions up front and making sure that you answer those questions very ethically and morally and right down the middle, and whether you're going to get to keep that deal, not keep that deal, just being very transparent with people. I think we're pretty good at that. I think we're really good with transparency with the customer. Yeah,
well, communication is key in this business and in any sales industry. And the thing is, the downside of it is so bad, right? Like if, you know, be honest, if quality of business isn't there, you're at the top of the food chain. You're dealing with a lot of debt, right? Which you've dealt with in the past, right?
Yes, I have.
Did you have a 6-figure chargeback at some point?
Yeah, me and Michael Terry, $135,000.
That was early on. It wasn't when
that was just getting over our first year.
Yeah, you didn't have 28 million.
Which he's to blame for that one, by the way.
It's all his fault. Damn it, Michael Terry. No.
I saw a problem with a group that he had brought on, and he was blinded by kind of what we were going back to, blinded by the anticipation of how successful they could possibly be because he knew these people. Well, he didn't know them very well.
No, you don't.
They were writing a lot of bad business, and they totally didn't care if they were friends or not.
Right. No, they don't. They don't. Those are usually the ones that get you.
Yeah, it's funny.
I saw this article. It's about a Carolina insurance agent, 35-year-old, got arrested, 74 counts of forgery. Forged 16 applications. Basically, I mean, stealing people's identity, stuff that you run into, right, at times, if you don't watch your business. So the reason I brought this up was not to, talk about how bad this person is, but as someone running an agency, this is a potential threat, right? There are people out there that would look to join an agency to write a bunch of bad business, to make off with a quick payday. It happens. How you've dealt with debt in the past.
Yeah.
What do you have in place to avoid or seek out or prevent situations like this? Like as an agency your size, you got a few hundred agents now. Yeah. It's not, running 20 agents, it's a lot easier, right? You can call everyone's clients. Yeah. What are you doing to prevent situations?
Well,
like this?
So great question. One thing that I focused on in my agency is providing a lot of structure towards it. So that's big. That's been something big we've been working on for the last 2 years. We learned a tough lesson with the debt.
Yeah.
And I tried to figure out how I could mitigate that. So I put my own paperwork in place. Anybody that comes on board with us, they do debt acknowledgement agreements that they're acknowledging the fact that they're responsible for that debt outside of their carrier contracts.
Sure.
And it outlines exactly what will happen if they do try and roll us debt.
Got it.
So that's step number one for us.
Yeah.
Everybody signs that if they're coming on board with us because we're very transparent about debt. We don't hide from it. We don't act like it's not there.
Right.
And when we're gearing somebody up to start building their business, we want them to be fully informed of the risk that can come with it. A lot of reward behind it, but there is risk, like you said. And then compliance. We focus on compliance heavily in our organization because it is phone sales. You got to be careful with that. You got to be really, really compliant. Right. So I hired a chief technology and marketing officer recently in the last few months. His name's Chris Allen. He was an agent with us, but he's very technology driven.
Yeah.
And moved him into a world that he's very passionate about. So we developed a compliance onboarding system for all new agents that they have to go through. It's 85 questions. Mm-hmm. It's broken down into chapters, and then they do a final exam that they have to complete at 100%.
Nice.
Before going live with us. Yeah. So they know what they can and can't do.
Right.
And ultimately, it layers the business as well.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Knowledge that I acquired over the years from my previous career opportunity, and things that they did to protect the business, but also protect the agents.
Right. It's reps. Like everything that I've asked, it always, for at least your answers to me, they always go back to communication, being direct, being upfront.
For sure.
And not shying away. Because I think a lot of times when people recruit, they hide from what they perceive as the bad stuff.
Yeah.
First of all, it's not bad. It's just there. It's just stuff.
Yeah.
Chargebacks exist. Debt exists. Fraud happens. But if you hit it head on, there's a lot less surprises. Doesn't mean someone still can't sneak through the cracks.
Yeah.
But the chances of it happening are a lot less if you are so far in front of it.
And people can't tell you, oh, well, you never told me that.
Right.
I don't ever hear that.
Exactly.
We don't ever hear that. Like,
no.
We're very, very open and transparent. Like, dude, we don't hide from anything. We believe that it's truly the best thing ever because it's changed our life.
Yeah.
This industry, this space, this company has changed our lives, and we truly believe in that. And we want to share that with people so that they can get a taste of the same thing.
So you talked about, like, you made good money before, but you didn't have the freedom, you didn't have your time, your life. What's that like now? Because you still work a lot.
Yeah,
how do you balance that now?
I'm still working a ton. Well, it's on my terms now.
Yeah,
which I love.
Right.
So I'm not shy of hard work. People can say stuff about me, but they can't say that Matt Cacace don't work.
Right.
I always try and be the hardest worker out there. So, but it's on my own time and my own dime.
Yeah.
Which is fun too.
Yep.
If I want to, I'm very conscious of making sure that I stay present with the agency. Like I was telling you, every 2 to 3 months to try and get out to one of our locations. We got 5 locations now. We're going to be opening up another one.
Nice.
Here soon. And I try and bounce around. I mean, I've got trips all the time that I'm doing. I am on a plane a lot more. I am away from home, but I try and do those in short stints so I can at least, get time.
Like you said,
it's
on your time.
Yeah, and I can go. Yeah. I can go on. Like we're going to Macy's Day Parade for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
We've
awesome,
started this. Because of, and I don't want to say because of FFL, I'm not going to say that, but because of my opportunity to pursue this business, it's putting me in a position to where now I'm traveling when everybody else is traveling.
Yeah.
And for the last 3 years, this is going to be our 3rd year that me, my wife, and my son are going to New York to watch the Macy's Day Parade. And he looks forward to it every single year. Yeah. He's asking about the damn balloons two months before and talking about which balloons are coming and stuff. And that's really cool that we're able to create a tradition during such a special time in the year.
Right.
With my family, I wouldn't have been able to do that before.
Yeah.
And I thank everything for that.
That's awesome, dude. That is great. Well, congrats, dude, on the success you've had so far. You've been to conventions.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a good segue and kind of wrap this thing. We got one coming up. End of January, early February of next year. We don't have enough time to talk about what you're going to get out of it. But what I want to say today is go get registered and get your rooms because we do have a room block that will save you some money. So if you stay at the Westin, which is attached to, did you stay there last year?
Yeah, no, I didn't stay there last year. I got an Airbnb.
You got there late,
it's right next there.
But dude, it's right there. You walk right out. You know, so and if you book through FFLconvention.com, you'll save yourself like $400 or $500 on a room rate.
Really nice hotel too.
It's a great hotel.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
did
great
visit
facility.
the bar.
I bet. There you go. But you'll be there. You'll be there training, I'm sure. And it's like it's the best time to get around. Like we talked about earlier, going to the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
One thing I love about, we're actually getting on the call later today to start working on the agenda. Sean he tries to delay it as late as possible because he wants to make sure the people that are training are still doing what we don't want to go, you sold a lot in January. You ain't selling shit now, but tell them what you used to do, you know? Yeah, or like, hey, tell them when you used to build an agency, when your agency was really big 3 years ago. Yeah. No, it's like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
So it's the best time to get around those people. Go to FFLconvention.com, register, get your ticket, all of $99. And you can stay, right next door at the Westin while we have those rooms. So anyways, appreciate you coming up, dude. I really do. This has been great.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Guys, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you've not already. Share this with your agents. And if you've not learned anything from this, it's mindset is key. Communication is key. Be direct, be upfront, and I think that works in all facets of our business, from recruiting to sales to, managing staff, building a business. Those keys. So thanks again, dude.
Of course,
guys, you know where to find us every week right here on True Talk. We'll see you next week.